how is it that January 1st being a holiday affected the ratings? Because the business offices are closed every Wednesday night at 8 o'clock Eastern. You would think that since everybody was open up on Thursday, things would just progress right along as normal. Wouldn't you?
Well, you would think. I mean, there's no real reason there should be any delay on the ratings. It's just data being pulled. All the company has to do is release the data.
Well, yeah, so they need to get some more pullers. They need to get some yankers, because the pullers ain't doing their job. They need to get us a yank that data. What if they could go to the American Dairy Association, get some cow milkers to start yanking data? They would be yanking cranks all over the country.
Well, as we were saying, we do not have Dynamite ratings as of the present, as we are recording. However, there's another rating story I've been waiting to see how it played out. AEW Collision.
Oh, boy.
On December 21st, I got to find the overall number. It was like the highest overall number in years.
But now, bear in mind, this is the episode of the much maligned Collision program that immediately followed a college football bowl game that did 18 million viewers on TNT, TV, whatever. What is Collision on these days? Is it TBS or is it over on TNT still?
It's on TNT.
Well, okay. Well, they had 18 million people watching the basketball right before this program came on the air, and let's see how many of them stuck around.
Well, Jim, I have it right here, as reported by WrestleNomics. AEW Collision, December 21st on TNT, 8 to 10 p.m. 635,000 viewers on average. It is the highest overall number and key demo number since July 29th, 2023. And it had the
and by the way, that was when our friendly neighborhood CM Punk was running things over on that branch of the company. That's when they were doing some good grappling over there. Had some big matches. Felt like something. The summer of 23. Brian Adams ought to do an update.
All right. Well, they say you're old.
It was the summer of 23. Yeah, Punk and FTR. They had some bouts with that other guy I forgot about. Anyway.
Well, Jim.
It was the summer of 23.
They had a big lead-in. A lot of people thought
did.
This was cause for celebration, such a big number, but they had a big lead-in. They had Clemson versus Texas College football. It's a playoff game. But here's the quarterly numbers. 8 to 8:15 p.m., quarter one. Big Boom AJ and Big Justice live promo.
God damn it.
Followed by Ricochet versus Will Ospreay with picture-in-picture. 1,260,000 viewers.
Holy shit. So Big Boom AJ is now officially the ratings champion of all history of AEW.
501,000 viewers in the key demo.
So they only lost 16.7 million people from the football game. That ain't bad.
We go to quarter two, 8:15 to 8:30 p.m. Ricochet versus Ospreay continued. And an Adam Cole MJF live promo. And I actually saw this. I wish you had it so we could have talked about it. 801,000 viewers.
Wait a minute.
Is that a duck?
You know what that is, don't you, Brian?
Now, shut up.
That's the truffle pig. That's my friend Joni Aries out in Washington State, that is, sent me it's a toy for Harley. It's a plastic little truffle pig. And
why are you playing with it?
Well, because the truffles, grow under the shit. You got to get really deep to get them truffles. And since they've lost 459,000 viewers in 15 minutes, they're already underground. They're under the shit. We need to get the truffle pig to root them out.
Well, we go to quarter three, 8:30 to 8:45 p.m. The continuation of the Adam Cole MJF Undisputed Kingdom live angle. Chris Statlander's backstage promo. An ad break. Orange Cassidy's backstage promo. And the start of Penelope Ford versus Chris Statlander. 634,000 viewers.
Ouch. Well, that's 167,000 viewers, but it doesn't look so bad since they just lost 459,000. But that is they have lost half of the audience they started with in 45 minutes. Okay.
Well, we go to quarter four, 8:45 to 9 p.m. AEW Collision, once again, not Dynamite. Penelope Ford versus Chris Statlander continued with picture-in-picture and full screen ads, that is.
What other thing would there be? Either picture-in-picture or full screen.
They had both. The post-match with Mercedes Moné, an ad break. The Learning Tree Big Boom AJ Big Justice live promo. Because Jericho found a way to latch onto them.
Big Boom and Big Bill and Big Justice had a big promo, and boom!
491,000 viewers.
Oh, boy, howdy. That's another 143,000 that they're down in the first hour. It makes a total of, 140,000 in quarter four makes a total of I can't do this math, 780,000, give or take, from the start. Go ahead.
And as we wrap up this hour, let me just say 501 was the key demo for quarter one. It went from 501 to 380 to 284 to 219.
They had more people in the key demo in the first quarter than they did watching entirely by quarter four. Certainly they picked up some steam at the all-important top of the 9 o'clock hour or whatever time this was.
Well, usually it is a bounce. Maybe in this case, because of all the big, there'll be a big bounce, but we'll find out 9 to 9:15 p.m., quarter five, the big 9 o'clock hour. The Learning Tree Big Boom AJ Big Justice Anthony Bowens live promo.
Bowens? Bowens was involved with Big Bill and Big Boom and Big Justice and Brian Keith? Was he in there?
Deonna Purrazzo and Taya Valkyrie and Tony Storm's backstage angle. And the start of Shelton Benjamin versus Daniel Garcia with picture-in-picture ads.
Okay, that's the one that I saw that I talked about.
493,000 viewers.
Well, there you go. The big bounce comes. Big bounce. See what I did there? They picked up 2,000.
Well, we go now to quarter six, 9:15, 9:30 p.m. Shelton Benjamin versus Daniel Garcia continued. The post-match with the Hurt Syndicate and Swerve Strickland, an ad break, and Mark Briscoe versus the Beast Mortos, 495,000 viewers.
So, see, okay, now, what did I say earlier in the program? Shelton Benjamin is the only wrestler in AEW that's actually getting over. He's the only person that actually increased these numbers.
Or at least held on to him.
Is it though? That 491 to 493 to 495.
Right, I'm saying
they're going in the right direction.
No one else even held on to an audience. He actually has a build. No one else even
Nobody held on to an audience. It was like lemmings going over the edge of a fucking cliff.
Well, we go now.
They couldn't hold on to. Their hands were greased trying to hold on to these people. They were like sperm swimming up the birth canal.
Well, let's go back to the cliff.
Get me out of here.
Quarter seven, 9:30 to 9:45 p.m. The continuation of Briscoe versus Mortos with picture-in-picture and full-screen ads. The Julia Hart promo.
The only one.
The Thunder Rosa Mariah May live angle, and an ad break. 469,000 viewers. We've now dipped below 200 in the key demo, 192.
There you go. Again, the only person to gain the audience, Shelton Benjamin and the Hurt Syndicate.
And we go now to quarter eight, 9:45 to 10 p.m. Claudio Castagnoli versus Darby Allin with picture-in-picture ads. 459,000 viewers. And they held the 192.
So I can do this math because it's almost even. They lost 801,000 viewers from start to finish. That's got to be a record, right? Never. When they did, we ought to go back, and I don't expect you to do it right now because, for heaven's sake, you're good, but you may not be that good. But their first show back many moons ago, when they did 1.2 million people, to say that was that was the show that Punk came back, wasn't it? They've done two big numbers. I think the first show and the show where Punk came back. We ought to go back and reflect and see how much of their audience they held on those. Because they ain't sticking around today. Even when they get a big number.
If you know you have a big lead-in, what do you do if you're Tony? Like, all joking aside. Now, Big Boom, AJ, and Big Justice are certainly not wrestling personalities, even though they've done some stuff recently. But they
to a sports audience or a college basketball audience, they probably know them from,
right,
getting the fucking rotisserie chicken at Costco or whatever their fucking MO is over there.
If you're on TikTok, my kids know them from TikTok. So, I mean, everyone, they're known. But they go from them.
Tickery talk. This chick. All right.
Well, it goes from that to Ospreay versus Ricochet. Is that how you would have started? If you know you're going to have a big
that's definitely a departure. They're showing they got something for everybody. That's the problem, is that there's really nothing that AEW is doing right now that would be of interest to an audience, I don't think, that's watching college basketball, a sports-oriented audience or a young guy audience, because they look at half the roster. Well, I can whip these fucking guys. The other part, well, look at these stupid fucking people doing this bullshit. Or what? There's, MJF could attract that kind of audience, but he's been neutered. And Ospreay could be cool if he wasn't just left to his own devices with trying to put all these other fucking indie weasels over, like his friend Felcher and Okada and etc. But do you really see anybody on this roster anybody that's not an indie wrestling fan, but that's a casual WWE style fan that's used to professional looking guys at least, or heaven forbid, a real sports fan with a UFC or basketball, football crossover? Like there's been a crossover in the fan bases of football and wrestling. A lot of times because there's been a crossover between football players to wrestlers in the past. That doesn't often happen anymore. There was a big crossover in the fan base of MMA and wrestling until wrestling got fucking silly and soft and all girly. But I think there's less crossover for AEW style wrestling amongst any mainstream sports fan today, don't you think?
Should they have started with the Hurt Syndicate?
It wouldn't have hurt. It sure, because then there you've not only got guys coming out that look like stars and that they are probably know, if they're going to know anybody on the show, they'd know MVP Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin from the big time. And you could have had Shelton do or Lashley do some of the shit they do where they just ragdoll and throw motherfuckers around, and it could have been impressive for an audience that just finished the basketball game or the football game or whatever the fuck the game was. Did I say basketball a minute? Well, goddamn, it's all played with a ball.
Well, it's interesting, too. They began with Ospreay versus Ricochet, so any casual fan, whatever that means, anyone who's not a usual viewer of AEW who stayed and said, let me see what this is, saw a wrestler getting pelted with toilet paper by the
God,
fans.
that's right, yeah.
It's the first thing they see after Big Boom AJ and Big Justice. No Rizzler, apparently.
And then old Big Justice, he's bigger than Little Ricochet.
He throws a better punch than every single person on the AEW roster. I don't know if he can do anything else in the ring, but he threw a better punch than everyone they have.
He's got more weight behind it.
Well, we will have to wait and see if these Dynamite ratings come in, Jim.
But that's a new red. That's I don't know percentage-wise, because didn't we figure out they lost about 66%, 2/3 of their audience on, no, maybe not. But this is, well, they ended up with 450, just roughly. I'm not going to ask you to do any work. They lost 60% of the audience here. or more. That's 60 to 63, let's say. Somebody will figure it out and tell me I was right.
All right, well, we've gone. Can you stop with that? People aren't going to know exactly what it is every segment. They're going to think you're farting. They're going to think you have a duck.
It's the truffle pig.
How would anyone know that?
Because I just said it a few minutes ago. We were talking about the same shit.